Hi everyone, and this is part 2 of this painting tutorial, I guess. And so here is what we have so far. We have the sketch layer, second sketch layer, see there, and the base color's done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fill in the details, blend the colors, paint the fur, and do some of the grass. And so let's get started. So I changed my shortcut to have to up vertical to shift Control V. I did that by showing you in the last video. I always seem to like my reference picture on the left. That's just my personal preference. I also prefer drawing animals facing the left. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm right-handed and it's just easier for me to draw it that way for some reason. So it's something I'm trying to get out of. And the nice thing about having reference photo on the computer is that you can switch it whenever you want. Alright, so let's start with the eyes. I like starting this way because it's the main area of focus. And it also, if I know I can do that well, I can continue on with the rest. I guess it's just something in my head. So now I'm picking this brush right here. And you know what, I think I'm going to change it. So I've downloaded concept cookies. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's Coco for short, which I think is pretty funny. And I just got their basic brushes. I'm only a basic member, so I don't get the paid things. But so here they have a variety of brushes. I like this one. So with this, it has pressure sensitivity for the size and the opacity as well, which can get rather confusing. We can fix that later. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, so I want to... Okay. So when it comes to detailing, and I'm doing it on the wrong layer. Alright, so when it comes to detailing, you want everything to be as accurate as possible. I could blend the colors first, and then do the details, but I kind of like to do them both at the same time. And I don't think this is soft enough for me. So let's do that. So with this, I don't have to press as hard, because I find when I press hard, it distorts somewhat. Distorts me, and it's kind of hard when you're painting for a long time and you're constantly pressing down hard. You know, it hurts the hand, and this enables me to not have to press down as hard, but get brighter and more darker, well, not darker, just less translucent colors. So there's no highlight in this picture, but I want to include one. So if light's coming to the right, I'm just going to put that there. We can always fix it up later. Remember, nothing is set. Okay. so now it's just a case of painting what you see. And I think I might change the brush. I'm really not happy with that white spot. I think I might change it to this one. So this is the one where pressure sensitivity only to the opacity, not the size. Way too big. So it doesn't have to blend so much at this point. It doesn't have to be perfect blending anyway. We're getting the details down. We're getting more colors in, so we can have a better way to visually describe the form. Does that make sense? So people say, color picking's cheating. And, you should be able to do it without color picking. But in reality, how are you supposed to know what colors are in a part of this kangaroo if you've never done it before? And even if you've done it 4 or 5 times, you probably won't get the same level of, variety. And I'll show you later, when I progress some more, how, these lilacs, they don't seem to go very well, and the colors are kind of strange. But once everything is blended, you'll see that it does work, but without color picking, you would have never known, you can try and guess, but I don't like to guess. I like to know. Now I feel like this area is a bit too unsaturated and just a bit boring, to be honest. So I'm just gonna really lightly press, and I'm gonna firm it up so I get less color. Okay, so that way I can press the same as what I was, but I get less color because I want more control over how much color I want to put down. Does that make sense? Hope so. Okay, so I just wanted to brighten that up a little bit. I think I may have done it too much. Quite like this purpley brownie color. Okay. Okay, so now I'm not getting enough color. I think I'll do that. This one. This blue extends. Look how vivid this is. It's a gorgeous blue. When you start doing art and start painting, you really appreciate colors. It's funny what you can come to appreciate. I have a horse, and suddenly grass has become really important, and appreciate nice looking grass. Alright. See, this is a lot darker than what I have right here. So I'll start on this side. Green. This goes further. You can see that I jump around a lot. You know, I start working on the nose and then a color grabs my attention, so then I have to place it there and constant moving around. Usually I listen to music when I draw and paint. So this just feels really quiet. Kind of unnerving. Don't really like this green, but until I can get some other colors it just looks out of place. I think I'm gonna have to do that, those nostrils, and cement it in there a bit more. So I've changed the brush to the one that changes the size, and I think I'm going to change the opacity jitter minimum 65%. So that's 65% of the color minimum it's going to put down, depending on how hard I press. Because I'm doing black nostrils, yeah, so it's not quite fully black, which is good. Nice bluish tinge. So the reason I'm doing this is because I need to see the form of the nostrils to see where I can need to place all the muscles surrounding that nostril, so I can visually see it. Alright, that'll do for now. Okay, so now I can see this little highlight here. This needs to be darker than the color it has. If I can't color pick the color, then I will estimate it. So let's see, this is light. It's also hard because of the reference photo, and I'm going to go back to this, shrink it down. Also, I could do, well, this color is pretty close to this color. So if I can't find this overall color here, I can go find it up there. And I'm not finding this dark enough. So let's just cheat. There, much better. Okay. What you should try and do when you're doing this more generalist colors is start big and go small. Like markings, leave markings to the ends. I wouldn't do them here, but then I wouldn't finish the painting and then put it on an overlay layer. You definitely want to get those down. I prefer not to do overlays for markings, just because I'm trying to get better at acrylic painting, and so the whole painting process for acrylic is obviously very different. And so the light that you paint, the light that's on your subject, also works with the markings. So there's no point leaving it to the last minute because the light still has to interact with those colors. Okay, that's why I was getting fudgy. I don't like that. Horrible color grade. So sometimes you have to hide your sketch layers so you can better understand your form. And I think I'm going to do a bit of erasing so I can see where things are. Okay. There. Alright. So you see, I have 3 layers and I'm just doing everything on, mostly everything on this layer. Okay, so let's get our bearings. I find this another problem I sometimes have when you're here looking at the color of the photo. You're like, okay, well I need to go here, where is that on here? You know, and sometimes you find yourself a bit lost, especially when it's intricate patterns and you're working so small. That's another reason to work with large areas first and then get smaller. So you can keep an eye on where you are and where you are in the painting. I mean, at this point of your painting growth, you know, I mean, we're heavily relying on this reference photo, but you won't have to all the time. You know, once you start painting more often and you develop it and you know your subject backwards, you won't have to use a reference photo. Okay, so now we zoomed out. You can see that we've just done this head and we've just put more colors in, and it already looks pretty good. You know, there's a few things that need to be changed. Like, I don't like that bridge of that muzzle. The colors don't blend well together, that lilac and brown. But you can see with that simple step, and this is annoying, my tablet's decided to just not work. It's been doing that more and more lately. I hope I don't have to buy a new one. Okay, let's check. Alright. So here, I don't like it how there's that difference, you know? So I think I might blend this down here a little bit. You see, the problem is that there is this line right there, you know? But it doesn't, that may be how it's supposed to look, but it just doesn't look right to me. Again, I got distracted over here. Will that do for now? Let's start on the ears. Another good thing to do is flip your canvas. I really should have done this more while I was drawing it. It is really, really good to do. Just started doing it, so I forget to do it a lot of times. Look at this color, this little blonde color right at the nose. I didn't even notice that before. It's cute, I like it. Flipping the canvas, right. So it is really good to do. Though, don't worry if you forget. I always forget. I didn't flip my canvas for years. That's another thing I want to talk about. Tablets. Tablets take a long time to learn, you know. I mean, you think you know how to draw and you think, okay, it's just like drawing with a pencil. It's basically a pen, but it's not, because the width of the pencil that you draw with is not the same width of the tablet pen. So you have to retrain your eye to communicate with your hand all over again. You know, it's your hand-eye coordination, which you have to refix and develop. And the only way to get used to it is to keep going. You know, when I got a tablet, which was 2006, and I was 16 years old. Now I'm 24. And I remember thinking, oh my god, this is terrible. You know, I've got this tablet, and I was admiring people online who could draw amazingly with it, and I was like, to be honest, I expected to be able to just pick it up and just draw just like I could usually, and that's not the case. And it is so disheartening because you're so excited to get this tablet. And so for the longest time, you know, I would draw with it occasionally. I didn't take those drawings seriously. I didn't try very hard. What I found myself doing mostly was I found myself drawing traditionally, scanning it, and then painting it that way. One day I'm going to show you my old drawings. They're hysterical. So don't get discouraged at all, because it's relearning to draw with a tablet is the worst, but you have to get through it, you know. And scanning and drawing that way, you know, scanning and then painting, it gives you good drawings, you know, like it makes it work, gives you good artwork, but it doesn't train you how to draw. You don't get around that, you know. The only way you can get good of drawing with a tablet is by drawing with a tablet, which kind of sucks. It's just like how, you know, the only way to get good at drawing is by practicing hours and hours a day. You know, people always tell me, oh, you're so talented. I wish I had talent like yours. Talent has nothing to do with it. dedication is what we do. You know, you dedicate your life. You know, even if it's a hobby to you, you still dedicate, you know, hours and hours to get good. If you think about all the hours that you spend every week drawing, and the more hours you spend, the better you'll get. You know, I think they say, 10,000 hours and you become good at something. It has to be way more than that. Okay. I'm not too happy with this ear, but I think it's because I'm getting confused. So I'm going to cut out the shape, but I can't see the shape. Oh, that's not going to help, is it? Okay. How does that look? Definitely better. Okay. You'll also notice that I tend not to like to use line art. Things work for other people, but I'm not very good at line art, especially clean line art. I don't know if it's just because I don't practice it enough, but whereas I want, photorealistic animals, they don't have a line art, so why would I draw one? It's satisfying when you can turn off, put this at 100%. You can turn this off and you can see the details and you can see the shadows and you can still see the form. You don't need that line anymore to help your eye see it. So that's why I like it. It's like a great unveiling. Okay, so you can see the huge difference in this ear compared to this ear, and if we go back a bit, turn this off, it's not nearly as rendered as what I'd want it to be for the final product, but just by doing this small amount, spending this small amount of time of it, it makes a huge, huge difference to your painting. And as you develop this skill of rendering, you're not going to render it to its full component because you're still new at it. Excuse me. Oh, my tea's getting cold. You'll find you can render it to a point, and then you don't know what to do. But the more you do it, the more you'll see what you can do to make it better. And I'm still learning. I still ask questions and get help, and I can definitely get by. But I am a far cry from being anything I want to do. And I'm wondering if that the same for everyone. I follow a lot of concept artists and a lot of creature designers, and I just wonder, is there ever a point where they're going to be like, I'm good enough? And I don't think there is. Because your expectations of yourself then go beyond. God damn it, I painted on the wrong layer again. Tell you, I still make mistakes. I love this color right here. If you see me going to the Windows 8 screen, sorry about that. I usually keep my thumb on the Alt button, which is the color pick button. And so sometimes I move it accidentally, and then it's on the Windows button, which then automatically takes you to the Windows screen, which is quite annoying. But I don't think I hate Windows 8 as much as everybody else. Another thing I want to talk about is if you're having trouble blending and you want a color to slowly become like a gradient from one color to another, don't be afraid to use the fuzzy brush, you know? It's not cheating, you know, I mean, everything on Photoshop is a tool, and you're allowed to use anything to get the job done, you know? It's all about getting it as realistic as possible with what you got. And if that means the fuzzy brush tool, use it. I was always dead set against using the fuzzy brush tool because until actually the last couple months, I thought it was cheating, you know, like I wanted to learn how to blend properly, and how to get good at it, and I thought if I use the fuzzy brush, then it has that kind of non-realistic kind of look. But as I got more into painting, I realized that some of the stuff you can't render without using the fuzzy brush. I feel stupid calling it the fuzzy brush. But, you know, I mean, painting is hard enough as it is. Use every tool in your toolbox. I don't really like how overexposed this photo is for the whites. You know, it's great for the rest of the picture, but these whites, there's just very little detail left, which kind of bothers me, especially as I'm a photographer as well. Alright. The ear doesn't quite look right, but I think I know what it is. I think I gotta erase it away. Whew, I got worried for a second there. My Photoshop had crashed. It's kind of lagging, which is annoying. Much better, I think. Much better. Apart from, okay, if you look, this has that nice smooth, whereas this isn't smooth at all. And it's shaped wrongly, so we're just going to etch that out. Much better. Now we need to bring this color down. The face is the hardest part, you know, which is one of the reasons it's nice, I don't want to say to get out the way, but to do it at an acceptable level, because The body, yes, you got all the blending to do, and there's much more of it. It's much less detailed. So you're not having as much color variation because you don't need to, because it's not the center of the focus. Okay, so I'm happy with this, but if I look at this, I notice this area right here does not look like here. And I think I'm going to add darker colors to it. Yeah, that's also another thing, you know. I mean, don't just rely on your reference. Rely on yourself. You know, the reference might look right, but to you it doesn't look right at all. So change it. I still want to keep a little lightness, just not as much as there was. Stupid Windows 8 button. Okay, I think that's good for now. Let's just see if this will work. I don't think it will, but we'll try it. We can always go back or just paint over it. Might just connect that. I know it doesn't do that in the reference, but better. Much better. Okay. So as you can see, it's coming along. With the face now rendered, we can now move to the rest of the body, and it should all be easier after this. Alright, and then after this, there's more blending, and then the fur. Blending takes up most of it, for sure. It takes the longest, and I feel like you have to enjoy it to some extent. I don't think I enjoy it very well. I like the whole sketching process. I love to sketch. Okay, so let's look at this part here. It's dark because the face has a bit of a cast on it. This is hard to render without doing the fur. I don't like how light this neck ring is, so I'm darkening it up, but I'm also warming it up at the same time. I'm also choosing very specific pixels because I like this. I love this color. You know, it just reminds me of the sun, and I'm also going to move it up into the face. It's important to have colors colors that work in your painting and colors that are used several times. Because if it's only used once, it's going to look kind of like, well, that's different. Why is that just there and not in the rest, you know? So I've enlarged my brush a bit, and I think I'm going to turn it to soft. I don't know why I have this light color for this whole chunk here. That makes no sense, but darkening we go. See, you know what I mean? It's what's nice about digital paintings, that you don't have to be like, damn, I can't go back. You know, I can't. Once the color's down, it's down. It's too late, you know, and don't think that way either. You know, that's another thing that sometimes is scary, rechanging your colors, you know? And if you're nervous to change something, make a new layer. And then paint on that, and then hide it and preview it. I do that all the time. So now we're on the bigger sections. I'm going to explain more about blending and how it's done, how I do it, I suppose. So first of all, pick this color, and then I'm going to bring up this to show you how hard I'm pressing. I'm going to set it back to normal. Okay. Are you not going to let me do that? Okay. So here it shows you how hard I press. Okay, so I'm picking this color, and you can see when I pick, it's about halfway. And then you can see it's only lightly. If I want to really get that color in there, you know. But when and depending on how big of a change it is, you see, like this to this, it's a big change. So I press darker and then lighter as I go further away, you know, or I can go lighter and just slowly build on it. And then I pick the medium color. Okay, and then I pick this color, blend, doesn't blend enough, pick that old color, pick this in-between color, and then if I still feel like it's not blending enough, I'll do the fuzzy brush. I will do this. You know, to make it blend smoother. Yeah, so if it's firmer, it means I'm going to have to press down harder to make it blend. So, pick this brown color. You see how light of a color I got, but how hard I had to press. So, you can add smaller amounts of the color to make it blend. Alright. I think I'm just gonna go back to normal. Bring this color down a bit. Now you'll notice with this areas you get bandings. That's when you blend a color in and you get these bands. Whereas here, when I had it firmer and I was putting less color down and had more control, I don't get the same banding. So the next step would be to get rid of that banding is to either use a fuzzy brush, like I did here, where it's a total gradient, or I could go back and do the firmer and then do the whole painting to get that color. And to be honest, I usually like the harder way, and I use the firmer brush and just go over the whole painting all over again. You see here, I'm a little confused. I see this here, and this is here. So, what color goes where? I think I want to bring that color up. Have this. You see now this color here? I could just put that in with the fur. It's not really a color base. It's more of a shadow caused by the hair. So I don't need it. I'm just gonna leave that small bit there so that when it comes to doing the fur, I can see, okay, that's where I need to add a shadow. I love these blues. Fantastic. Now, one thing I don't like is that this seems to be very similar colors, and I'm only going to get the only way I can get rid of this harsh line is by doing the fur, which I have to be next. So, talk about the size. This is 100%. It's not a huge size. If we look at the canvas size, 27 centimeters by 21 centimeters. I usually go by inches, so I usually pick default paper size. Just no reason behind that whatsoever. I always have my resolution set to 300%, 300 pixels per inch, sorry. That is standard print size, so if I ever wanted to print it, the resolution would be good. There's no right. This little dot on its nose, it drives me crazy. I thought it was cute, but it's too distracting. It's gotta go. Okay. Much better. Yeah, document size. So I like 3000 pixels because it's not too big, but then it's not small enough that it becomes distorted on the web and things, and on Facebook and wherever else you're going to put it. I, for the longest time, thought that document size was what I was doing wrong, and that was why my pictures weren't very good. It's funny what you think when you're not very good, you know? tablet decided to stop working again. I don't know why it keeps doing this. I guess I don't exactly give the most love and care to my equipment, but may need to buy a new one soon. Which would be sucky because I just bought a new one. My cat rather likes to chew cords. So it means constantly buying things. I'm gonna try save up for a Cintiq. If you don't know what those are, you can Google them or look up the Wacom website. They look pretty nifty. Right now I use a Intuos 5, I think, which is great. I went with an ex-boyfriend, bought me a knockoff tablet, which was huge. It's about as big as my table, and it was just so cumbersome, you know, and the pressure sensitivity wasn't very good, and you know, he thought bigger is better, and honestly, it's not. You know, if you spend less money on a tablet, you're gonna get less. You know, so okay, so you spent $30 less than what you would have done. So for this, I'm just doing this line right here, and I want to come to the edge, but I don't want to paint over. I don't want to paint more off to the side, so I turn the transparency. It's not transparency, sorry, it's pixel lock, so that I can only paint over what I've already painted. That way it still gives me that clean line. Again, here, I can do that here as well. You might see me do that a lot. It's really helpful when, say, you've done all the blocking and you've erased out all the muck, the side muck. Then you can pixel lock it, and then you can just paint away without having to worry about going over the lines and, you know, having to redefine the shape. But I didn't, because I didn't cut it out yet. That's what I'm doing while I'm rendering. I'm not very happy with this leg. It just seems too thin. It would really help if we could see it. Okay. So another hour in, and all we've rendered is the face, the ears, and the shoulder, and a leg. This is going to be a long video. Okay, so I am not particularly happy with these legs. I have to cut them out. You can see that back leg is still peeping out there. I haven't added it. I'll have to add it later. Okay. this color here, so I'm going to put that in. A lot, apparently. Blend, blend, blend. So, because the shadow it's pretty harsh in the painting, there's not going to be any blending because it doesn't blend with the colors, and just going to retouch it. Pixel lock, that's better. Most people, it's kind of hard to not blend everything when you start off. You feel like all the colors have to meld together, but it's okay to have, dark and light and have those two sides butt up against each other. This white spot right there. We have a long way to go. Yup. So what I'm looking at here is I'm noting the negative shapes. So I see, I'm looking at this one here, and this is a lot bigger than this. But I kind of like it better like this. So I think I'm going to keep up. Plus, I feel like I'm a bit late in the game to start moving things like that over. So I'll just have to leave it. But it's still good that you notice it, because then you'll notice it for next time. And you'll keep more of an eye on it. Still kind of frustrating, well, oh well. Live and learn. Trying to decide what I did wrong. I don't know if, because the baby's head seems to be appropriately sized. So is it just that I made this belly too long? I think it is. I made this part too long. Or guess what I could do before I get any too long. So I've just selected all this area here. Control, black arrow. And I don't know how this is gonna look. This is purely a guess. Okay, so now it's better. We're gonna have to tidy up a few things that now don't work. Just the colors and stuff, but that's no big deal. But now at least it's more, it's better than what it was, you know? And had that been something else, it's good that I fixed it instead of leaving it. I don't know why I did this huge block of black. It doesn't work. So I'm thinking I probably should have done the Joey's face after I did the mom's face. Just because now I got it to do, and I honestly just don't want to. But if I leave it, see, now we have our problem. Our face doesn't line up anymore. So now we gotta change that. Control. Let's say it's about there. Yep, there we go. Alright. Alright, let's do the Joey. What do I have to lose other than my sanity? As you can see, I'm not all that keen on the rendering part. So I was having trouble seeing the eye, what I was painting. So I turned off the sketch layer so that I could see it better. X brings the background color to the foreground. I don't like that highlight, but we can fix that later. Let's add a bit more interest. Alright. Here's the lower lid. shadow, highlight, and I'm not happy with how the color is going down, so I'm going to set it back to middle. It's better. Look at those cute little rosy pinks. I'm sorry if it's boring, guys. Just watching me do the same things over and over again. But this is what rendering's all about. It's just doing the same thing over the entire painting. Gets pretty tedious, but it's fun at the end, right? Okay. I really like this orangey color, but I don't want it to look unnatural. So I'm gonna distribute it lightly in several areas to make it more cohesive. Okay, I think it's time to do those nostrils. Let's just back up a bit. Much better. So I've chosen the brush that has the opacity for the size and, pen pressure sensitivity for size and opacity. I'm changing the minimum to 60%. So no matter how softly I press, it won't go lower than 60% opacity of the color to do these nostrils. So cute. Now, I want to go back. This eye is somewhat problematic for me. I don't think it reads very well. So when we say read, it's how the brain understands it. You see, it just doesn't look real, you know? And I've tried to copy what I see, but it just doesn't work. It's better. So, being an artist, our job is basically problem solving. How do I make this look like this? You know, and like, to make that look right, all I did was just tweak this area, darken it a bit, you know, and it didn't look right before, but now it looks a lot better than what it did. However, I am going to continue this down. Much better. So, you know, you're constantly facing problems and that you have to overcome, you know, because painting it's not the easiest thing we could have taken up. Oh, too dark. Okay. So the problem I'm having here is... Hi, so I thought I would... The problem I'm having here is that this all blends to the same. You know, I mean, the Joey is very well camouflaged against his mother. Which is good for them, I suppose. Pain for me. Separating the two out. It's a nice color. I don't even know what to call that color. I'm loving it today. So again, you know, making the eye read. Joey's face is in front of the mom's belly. So the way I'm going to combat that, I think, is I'm going to tweak the coloring a little bit. So I probably did this the wrong way. Probably should have done this lighter color first, and then put the blacks in. But you don't know till you try, huh? some more colors in here rather than just white and grays. This is shaped wrong. Look at this line. This line is from when we moved it. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Just want to get this ear done first. So I think in order to separate this ear from the baby, I don't like that brown. Let's pick a different brown. This brown. Yeah, so I just needed to separate the Joey's back of the head from the mom instead of it getting lost. So if I just add that color, that'll be better. I didn't do very good color picking with this ear, did I? Okay, I'm gonna move on to... I should finish this first. Painting is so relaxing. I find painting is really relaxing, but if you're too stressed out, you're not going to be able to paint. I was like that a few days ago. I was so stressed out I couldn't even think about what to paint. So I just couldn't paint for like 5 days. Which is not good, because if you really want to get good at drawing, you know, I mean, it's good to paint every day. Or at least draw every day. But if you're so stressed out, okay. I want to soften more color down. So when it comes to doing this kind of thing, you can really just turn your brain off and just do it. You know, I mean, you have everything already laid out. You got all the colors. You got the lighting down. You have the proportions right. You can just turn off and just color pick and just blend. Which is nice. Sometimes, you know, I find that I'm not in the mood to blend, or I am in the mood to blend. I'm not in the mood to draw. So it's always good to, you know, it's good to sketch and then save the sketch and then draw another sketch and then save that sketch and draw another sketch, and without, you know, just doing painting, do it all the way through, finish, painting all the way through, finish. You know what I mean? Some days you just want to grab a coloring book and just color. I mean, that's what's nice about the internet nowadays, that a lot of people give up their drawings so that people can practice coloring. And that's great too, you know. I mean, if your drawing skills are lacking, but you want to practice coloring, but you feel that when you draw, your artwork isn't good enough, so you feel discouraged, so you quit, you know, which isn't good. But at least now you can use other people's line work that they give permission for you to color, and you can try painting and you can get your painting skills up. But, you know, I mean, it's still not going to help your drawing skills. So, yeah, it's good, but I wouldn't do it every time. Also, you know, I mean, if you post it anywhere, which you would need a person's permission, and you still have to reference them when you post it. You know, I mean, it's just nice to be like, this is mine, this is all mine, you know, instead of being like, line works by so and so. But every once in a while, you know, do it. Why not? Alright. I'm not too keen on the pouch. I don't like the color. I don't like the shape very much. It kind of melds in with the joey and it's hard to distinguish the two. So I keep color picking out of this and I keep getting the same kind of colors, which I don't really like. I can't seem to get this lighter yellow. So I am going to try and just find it. So I think it's about here. It's too light, but I don't care for now. And once it's got the fur on top of it, it'll darken it a lot. But it's nice just to have that base, so that the hair will have a few strands of that nice highlight color. See, I was getting sick of the colors not blending, so I used the fuzzy brush tool. Okay. Good. Also, I find that if you focus in for too long, your eyes get tired. Also, that comes with, being on the computer all day. But if you stay small in the areas, you start losing the entire picture, and your eyes got more tired, and just seems to hurt. I don't know. Could just be me. Okay, so now I'm blending these colors, and I already have the colors I want to use, so I'm going to go back to the center because it's less about putting color down and more about blending the two together. See how much easier that was for me? Some colors seem easier to blend than others. So I would combat that by making it firmer. My tablet, so that I have more control. I'm getting a lot of banding, which I don't want. Now here, huge. What do I want to do first? This or this? Either way, I want to get most of this. I don't know why I put so much color there. So much white, sorry. Again, you see, this isn't the general base color. It's a highlight. Highlight which you can do with the fur. So you don't have to include this when you're doing your base colors. Really, it's not a base color, It's just what that base color looks like with a lot of light shone on it. You see now, because the colors are so different, I'm having to press really hard because it's set on foam, so I'm having to press harder to get more color. So I'm going to put that back to the middle so I don't have to press as hard, which makes it easier, but then you also get all these sudden burst of color, which makes it harder to blend. So it's a lot going over what you did and then doing it again until you're happy with what you have. And I think I'm becoming happy with what I have. And if you go over what you already did, it's going to get you really, fine with you repainting your work. So what I noticed just now is that I didn't bother to include any shadow over here. know why I didn't. But that's something that's gonna have to change right now. So as you can see, once you finish putting all the detail in the head, it gets so much, you can work so much faster because the colors don't have to blend as well. There are no details that you have to keep an eye on. It's all just easy blending and color picking, with your thumb that rests on the belt button. All you have to do is just click that button. Okay. So this is 25%. It's coming along nicely, I think. Depending on the size of what you would have it for the web, you may not even need to do fur on it. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do fur for this because it's already an hour and 33 into the second part, and we're not even finished blending yet. I decided I didn't like this gray color, so I'm getting rid of it. So Alright, let's do the shadow. I think I want it. Yes, of course, we moved it all. So now it doesn't help me. So now I'm just going to have to guess. I think for this we're going to have to do some fur, where the fur is really noticeable. Like over here, the edges are going to need it. What's nice about when the blending happens, you get all this mix of color too, which is nice, because it adds even more variety. Okay, so what I should be looking at, but which I wasn't, is the muscles group. In these back legs, obviously there are tons of muscles, just like there are on the rest of the kangaroo, but because these are bulging out significantly more, I need to be paying attention to that. And there's a lot of overexposed areas too, like here, but that will be something that I'll define when it comes to doing the fur. And the thing about color picking when there is a lot of shadows in the fur is that sometimes you get shadow color, which you don't want either, because then you have these really dark patches, which really it's not. The kangaroo doesn't have dark patches on it. It has, for example, this color. I could do this and I could do that, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this color. And that dark patch is just simply the shadow of the hair. So you gotta keep an eye on what you're laying down. Also, if you look at these colors, they're more saturated. More unsaturated than what I have. But do I like it like this, or do I want to have it more realistic? Ugh. God's sake. So what I've decided is this color here is kind of like the general color of this area, and I really, really hate this huge block of white. So I'm going to lighten it. That's not what I'm looking for. What a mess. So now I moved all that line work. Now I moved the painting. It's going to be harder to cut the shape out, especially in this rear end here, because I'm having a hard time distinguishing what is what. This is too wide right there. That's gonna bug me. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop it here and finish the rest of rendering myself. You've seen most of the rendering. You've seen the process, you've seen how I do it, you've seen the blending method. I'm going to stop it here so that I can finish the rendering, and then we can move on to the fur. Alright? Thanks guys, this is the end of part 2.